Hey, welcome back to the Step Out and Thrive podcast with me, your host, Bethany Joy. And I'm so excited to have you here because you get to meet one of my best friends here in the Christian Coaches Academy, Faith to Influence. We talk about Justin Janowski a lot here on this podcast. So if you're ever looking for someone to help you out with sales in your business, Justin is the first person to go to. That's where I meet a lot of my friends. But before I introduce you to her, and you're going to want to stick around because she's got a really cool story. I want to make sure that you're in the right place. And this podcast is mainly for those that maybe find themselves in a lot of one-on-one connections, but really don't feel a place where they feel safe and seen and secure. Maybe a place where they can have people understand what they're going through. Maybe a safe place where they can just be and grow and learn how to do groups together. That's what this is about, relationships. And this is the place for you, my friend. So feel free to kick off your shoes, grab a sweet tea, and dive deep into the conversations that we're going to have today. And with me today, I have Coach Belinda. So, Coach Belinda, would you like to introduce yourself and share to everybody like where you're from and what's one thing that you would like to tell about yourself before we get started?
Oh, hey, yeah. I'm Belinda Terro Mooney. I'm a coach for women who have issues with balancing their home and their work life, and they're high performing, but it's getting hard. I know a lot about burnout because I've lived their life and I've burned out and I've come back from burnout at least twice or three times in my different careers. And I love working with people. One thing about me that most people don't know is that I have written quite a few books now. I'm on my ninth one at a publisher, and I really enjoy helping other people get published. So I have some group coaching membership for authors. But yeah, so those are kind of like some sidelines. And I also have seven children, so that's a lot of kids.
That is a lot of kids and a lot of experience. I love
Yes,
it.
yes.
And one things that we connected around is I told you a long time ago that I'm a single mom and you're like, I know how that goes.
Yep.
And you also really we talked about some of the harder parts of both of our stories. And today I know we were going to talk about just that money, that poverty mindset a little bit.
Yeah.
And let me just say a disclaimer here. This is not just for single parents. I
Uh,
think all of us, right? Especially right now with the economy as it's going, there's a lot of us looking at our banking account. There's a lot of us wondering, okay, what are we going to do? A lot of us that are listening to this podcast, finances are huge. And so we're not going to tell you how to budget. We're not going to get into all that. What we're going to be talking about is instead your mindset around that. And so Belinda's got a little bit of her story, and I was going to let you just share, like, bring us into it. It doesn't have to be like the whole story, but maybe bring us into a moment or two of where this poverty mindset maybe tripped you up a little bit, or maybe something that you struggle with.
Right. Well, growing up poor, I come from Louisiana. That's the accent that you hear.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I was in rural Louisiana and we were very poor. And when I
yeah.
remember when I got out of that poverty, I said, never again. And then some years ago, having to leave and become a single parent, I left a traumatic situation and it's some abuse, and I had to start all over again because I had been homeschooling my children. Well, now it's like going from I'd made all this money and then my husband was making money while I was homeschooling the children. And then now I'm like starting from scratch. Like I've already built a business. I've
Yeah.
already done all that stuff. Um, but now I'm beginning again, except that I'm a lot older. And so I've had to really work with my mindset and talk to God about how I know that He's going to provide.
Mm,
It's just very difficult some days to see where it's coming from or what,
yeah.
how all that's going to manifest. And
Yeah.
so I just have to keep remembering that if I keep doing what the next right thing, whatever it is that I'm hearing him tell me to do, that
Mm,
things are going to work out. And so there was a time a couple of weeks ago where it was really intense, that feeling of poverty. And I said, you
mm.
know what? I know one thing I do well, and that is help. I write well.
There you
And
go.
I know what to do. So I'm just going to set up a group. It's not the other clients that I'm normally working with, the women that I like to help or whatever, but I know I love to help authors too. So I'm just going to set up a group and I'm going to see what I need to do to get people into the group. Well, I just started, I felt really almost fear to the paralyzed point because I
Mm.
started making calls, and like Justin says, you have to make, so many no's before you get a yes or whatever. So
Yep.
I just started hearing a lot of no's. No, it's not the right time. Thank you. It sounds wonderful, but it's not for me right now. I can't afford it. Da 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 da. Okay, so finally I got 7 people, and I started last Tuesday, and it's going very
Mm.
well.
I
So
love it.
I realized that, okay, and one of those people, instead of paying the monthly fee, she just paid the whole year right up front. Well, that was a
Wow.
tremendous help to me in my bank account.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
know that I'm going to serve her well, and I know that I'm going to try to be there with her through whatever challenges she's facing with her writing, because I've been doing that with my one-to-one clients that are authors. So
Yeah.
I felt really good about that. And it was like God showing
Mm.
me, okay, look, you went from here where you felt like you were just drowning in the muck, right? And
Yeah.
you were just panicking almost, to just calming yourself down and saying, I know that you're there. I know you're with me. I just need to do the work. I need to do the whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing to help you provide for me. And I just started
Mm.
doing it. I started calling people, and I started reaching out, and I love people. So even if they
Yeah.
tell me no, it's okay because I
Yeah.
understand. I know what finances are like. I know what,
Yes.
well, I can't invest in that right now. I have this, or that, the other debt to pay off.
Hmm.
Yes, I
Hmm.
get that. I hear you and I accept it. But it was so
Yeah.
nice to talk to you. And so I just
Yeah.
started feeling like really energized and alive, even if the call wasn't getting me the person that I could help and assist with something and the money for my family. It was
Mm.
building the relationship, like you were talking about at the
Yes.
beginning, the relationships that I have with all these wonderful people. I was able to
Yes.
say, oh, I haven't talked to you in a while, guess what I'm doing? Oh, well, if you can't do it, maybe you know somebody else. I'm looking for Christian authors who want to publish things that advance the kingdom of God. Do you want to,
Yeah.
anybody who would want to work with me? And so I just had a great time, and I
Mm.
reconnected with a lot of people, and it was like God was saying, yeah, that's how we do this. And
Yes.
and he doesn't have to, but he always rewards us. So I was just
Yeah.
doing what I was supposed to do, but I got
Yeah.
this big reward with the people who said yes and the people who paid me,
Yeah.
and then I
Was
was
a
able to
reward
have a
too.
great
I'm
group.
hearing about just the experience that you had. I mean, that
Yes.
was a reward too, and that was a hard time that you were walking through. So I'm hearing that one, you had to just pause for a minute and find God in the middle of
Yes.
all that. And then
Right.
you also just took the next best step. It wasn't, okay, I need to do all of this stuff before I can start making calls. You just picked up the phone or picked
Right.
up the text or whatever it was that you did
Right.
to start getting people on the phone and you started. And you're right, you had to make it across those no's. And those are hard
Right.
sometimes. But I love how you walked away like, no, but this connection was worth it. It was worth it to
Yes.
connect because
Oh, totally.
regardless of what we get people on the phone for, we both love conversations, and my people know
Yes.
they love getting me on conversations. I love giving that space to people, and that's one thing that I think people miss because they're so ingrained an idea of sales being bad that they
Mm,
forget that we can do it differently. And when
right.
we get on the phone with people, we offer them just a place where they can just be and get a
Right.
breath of fresh air and
Right.
get that space to feel seen and known and understood. And that's what excites me about being able to offer that. So, Belinda, in this time where I'm gonna go back to that moment where you were struggling. I remember you didn't tell us everything that was going on, but I remember being in small groups with you around that time. And I was kind of caught off guard when you mentioned the whole writing thing. I'm like, this is great. I love that she's doing that. But tell me, like, what did you do before the writing idea came in your mind? Like, what was it that you did to like prove to yourself, okay, God is with me. Like, I know God is with me right now. Is there a practice or anything that you did?
Well, usually when I feel overwhelmed, I'm just going to go to God, and I'm going to say, Father, I've done everything that I can think to do. I need your
Mhm.
help. And I know that if you're not with me in whatever I'm planning, then it's going to fail. There's a
Yes.
scripture about unless the Lord builds the house. Well, unless the Lord builds the plan, my
Yes.
plan isn't going forward and into
Yes.
anything good. And so I just will stop, take a deep breath, and just ask him to come and be with me and give me the plan,
Mm.
Lord. And I'll write it down,
Yes.
and then I'll work to the plan. I will work to the
Yes.
plan. I'm a hard worker. You know I'm a hard worker. You've seen
Mhm.
me all through my life. I work myself to death some days, but I'm a hard worker. I will do what you're asking me to do. I just need to know what it is. And so let's get the plan. And you know what? It's similar to what I tell people to do when they want to write, because
Mm.
the very first thing I tell people to do is ask God for the outline.
Yeah.
So now, fiction's a little bit different than nonfiction, but my specialty area is nonfiction and poetry because that's what I write. But
Hmm.
when you get an outline from God and then you just write to the outline, that book's going to get finished one day because you're just doing what you already set up, right? Well, it's the
Yeah.
same thing with the plan. When we feel overwhelmed and we ask God for the plan and we see something opens up in our mind, oh, I could do that.
Hmm.
Great. Now, what does doing that mean? Okay, well, I can make up the offer. I can send it out. I actually sent it out in emails, which if I had to do it over again, I probably text everybody or call
Mm.
them and leave a message and say, hey, listen, I'm offering something. I'm going to be sending you an email about it. If you can't use it, could you please forward it to a person you think might? And that would
Yeah.
take any pressure off of them. So I'm
Mm.
learning in this process how to do these memberships and groups and stuff like that.
Oh,
But at
yeah.
the beginning, I knew I've got people in my Writers Guild, I've got people in my coaching associations that I could put
Hmm.
this out to. So I'm going to go ahead and just start. And so I
There you
just
go.
started sending a bunch of emails to everybody that I had emails for.
Yeah.
Then I started
Yeah.
following up with the phone calls and the texts. And
Yeah.
then I started
Mhm.
getting people, and getting them on
Hmm.
the line and talking to them and having such a wonderful time just
Yeah.
reconnecting with friends.
Yeah. And so you just had to start. You just had to
Just
start
to
and just
start.
take it and just begin with it. And that's what I'm hearing is this is that in those hard places, it is hard to take that next best step, especially if you get into mindset, well, why try because this
Yeah.
happened, you know? And what
Yes.
I'm hearing from you is you didn't get stuck there. What you decided to do is like, no, it can be different. And you took
Right.
it and you took a completely different, I mean, this wasn't your niche. And so what was really neat is I heard from you earlier, well, I like to write. So I'm going to invite other people into that. That's what it really sounded like. It's almost like, well, I'm
Yeah.
having a party. I'm going to have other people come with me.
Right.
You
And I
know?
mean, I have done it. I've done it one-on-one with people. It just hasn't been the bulk of my coaching. And
Yeah.
I've always I mean, I love it. I wanted to say
Yeah.
terribly enjoy it. That doesn't quite make sense.
Yeah.
But I love it. And now
Yeah.
one of my clients just got a contract. And like I had told her, I'm with you to the end. I don't care if we're going to self-publish this thing because every single person
Yep.
turns you down. I am with you until you get this book published and we are getting it published. And I told
Oh,
her I'm jumping up and down right now and
great.
I'm going out to eat with kava with my son tonight to celebrate your book because
There
you
you go.
rejoice with those who rejoice and weep with those who weep,
Yes.
right? And I was
Yes.
rejoicing with her. It was just like as if I had published the ninth book. And it's still
Yeah.
the publisher's waiting, but it's like as if I've already published my ninth book
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
helped her. So I'm thinking,
Exactly.
this is going to be fun for me, fun for them, work for them,
Yeah.
work for me, but it's
Yeah.
okay. Anything that you love takes work. But I guess what I
Yeah.
was thinking as we were talking is going back to the finances. It's
Hmm.
helping me to talk this through with you because whether it's almost panic about finances or almost panic about something else in a relationship or almost whatever, if you stop, just stop, take a big deep breath
Yep.
and ask God to come and be with you. God, I'm so afraid right now. I know
Hmm.
that my faith is strong, but I still feel a human fear. I'm afraid right now. I need your help. And
Mm.
I need you to give me a plan out of this fear. I need you to give me a plan out of these financial problems or these relationship problems. Or what can I do? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can. That's doing the next right thing, the things you
Yeah.
can change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Okay, so
Yeah.
if I can't do anything, let's say it's a relationship problem somebody's having, and there's a lot of relationship problems going on right now.
Hmm.
There's a lot of things going on in families that we've never seen ever in the course of all of history, like the estrangement and everything that's happening right now.
Hmm.
Well, there's parts of what we can do, and there's parts of what other people have to do to meet us halfway. And if they don't, then what can we do for our life? But wherever we're panicking, if we just stop and let God come and be with us in that fear and tell him that we don't want to have the fear, we want to have calm and
Yeah.
peace and trust with him, and we want to have the plan of what we actually can do to make the situation better for ourselves.
Yeah.
We surrender. That's the way. I mean, I don't see surrender in Christian terms as just like, okay, then I don't do anything. I see
Yeah.
me and God, we're like this, like me and Jesus are like this. And so we're going to go forth together and do whatever he's showing me to do. And
Yeah.
so I still
Yeah.
have to show up. I've still got to do the work.
Yes. Yes. And
So,
it's really looking for those fingerprint moments, as you were saying, because I think a lot of times we begin with, okay, God, I am afraid, I am scared, I am whatever. And although that's good, one thing I work with my clients is about, okay, wait a second. Let's go to a better place where we can just start with a firm foundation where God can meet us where, we've already seen
yeah,
him at work, rather
right,
than looking for him in a place that we're not sure if he's there. I mean, honestly, if we're feeling
right,
fear, we're like, mm. So, I mean,
right.
I got a question for you, and we can just
Oh,
practice it
yeah.
really quick here. Is if you can, and you can just be thinking of something while I'm talking here. And so, interactive appreciation is one thing that we practice a lot. And I just ask my clients just to ask God to bring to mind a moment within the last week, within the last 2 weeks, where they got to experience God in a new way. And it could be as simple as drinking a cup of coffee, to looking a friend in the eye, to running in the grass barefoot, to seeing a tree, to seeing a bird, to having the heavens open up and Moses come down. I haven't heard that one, but I can't. But yeah, and then to go back in that moment, okay, God, what did I see? What did I hear in that moment? What did I smell in that moment? What did I taste in that moment? What was I doing in that moment? Where
Hmm.
were you in that moment? What emotions were coming up in that moment? So there's a lot more you can do with that, but I'm curious as I'm talking, Melinda, is there a moment that's coming up for you that maybe you
Yeah.
hadn't thought about before you got on here? It's like, wow,
Just this
Hmm,
morning, I was going to tell people I was doing a talk with some ladies from a church that's not too far from where I live. So I drove there. I talked to them about some spiritual things, and it's going to be in this ninth book that's at the publishers now. So I was talking about these things, and what I was sensing was just joy and excitement at
hmm,
sharing things about God and about intercessory prayer and about how we can
yeah,
help other people by praying for them, etc., and making reparation, things that I know a lot about. Um, so anyway, I was just
yeah,
having a wonderful time being in a safe space with a lot of other people who were receptive to what I
hmm,
knew. God has already taught me all of this, and I've actually written it now, but now I'm getting to speak about it. And I just came away from there looking up as I'm driving home on that long drive. Thank you, God. Praise you, Jesus. Like
yes.
I was just so happy. Just
I
happy.
love that.
Yeah.
And did you remember what that smile felt like on your face when you were driving home?
Yes. Yes, I
Right? You can
do.
go right back to that moment.
I
And so if
can.
you could give that moment as you're driving back, just looking to God, saying thank you, if you can give that moment like 2 words, 2 word title, what would that be? 2 or 3 word title. Oh, that's hard for a writer.
So calm.
Ooh,
So calm. That's how I
ooh,
felt. Just
I love it.
but there's so many other like joy and
Oh yeah.
a sense of deep affirmation. They were so
Mm,
receptive to what I was saying. They were
yeah.
so hospitable and accommodating. And I mean, I
Mm,
could go on and on. Like it was an
yeah.
amazing time. I actually
Yeah.
want to write the person. She was taking over for someone else and hosting at her home. And I
Mm,
remember walking out the door going, oh my gosh. I know you're not from Louisiana, but you have the gift of hospitality.
yes.
Oh, I was like in awe. I always
Love it.
am because I feel
Yeah.
like you got to be where I'm from to know really what it's
There
like in
you
a different level.
go.
But she really did. And I'm going to
Mm,
write her a handwritten note and send it
there you
to
go.
her and thank her
Love it.
for number one, having that meeting there and then having me into her home and being so gracious. She even fixed
Mm,
me two plastic food things that I could eat with on the car because I was coming straight home to going to a Zoom meeting, to going to sales school. So
yeah.
it's like she
Yeah.
fixed me food and everything to send me on my
Oh,
journey.
I
So
love
I
that.
just felt so calm and
Yeah.
happy and affirmed. And I wanted to
Yeah.
say too, the The thoughts that were coming to my mind when you were talking earlier about finances, and
Hmm.
I want to share this with people because I remember looking up one day and I said, God, could you, this is like last year. It's
Hmm.
so stressful for me right now. Could you just I don't care if you let money rain from the sky. I just need something. And a friend of mine who is very wealthy just felt like she wanted to give me money and it helped me so much.
Mm.
Like,
Oh, wow.
and I am not too proud to take money if my family needs money. So I
Yeah.
was so thrilled. And then lately, I had that same experience. My insurance company, just out of the blue from last year, I've had to change this year. Well, they had an overage and they sent me over $800 in a check. It's like, it's
Mm. And that definitely doesn't happen, not from the insurance.
right. Right. And
Yeah.
then when I was calling all these people, I was just expecting the $75 monthly fee for the writers group, right? And one woman just decided she wanted to get the 2 months free and she paid me $750, boom, all at once. And so
There you go.
there's $1,000 between her and a few other people who were paying right at the same time that just
Hmm.
came into my banking account. So I just wanted
Yeah.
you to know that when you ask God for things, and you show up, he's showing up for you and you show up for him and y'all show up together to do whatever it is you're supposed to do. It really does bear fruit. It really
Yeah.
does. It may not be at
Yeah.
the moment you think it's gonna, and there may be a little
Mhm.
bit more pain for you to
Yeah.
go through with that
Mhm.
relationship, those finances, or that
Yeah.
goal that you thought was going to be a whole lot easier to reach than
Mhm.
you thought it was going to be. That's
Yeah.
where coaching is so helpful, I think.
Yeah. Well,
When
and even
people,
thinking about it a different way, because
yeah,
you didn't start out with, well, I'm going to do a writing group. you
right.
know there was a totally different process and a different way of thinking about all of it. And
Right.
so I love how you're bringing this up, and we talked about so much today, starting out with finances, talking about appreciation moments, talking about not to get stuck in the cycle, talking about trying to take the next best step and
Right.
the fruit of our efforts. And yes, sometimes it is getting the answer to our prayer, but sometimes also like, wait a second, pushing on the other barely open door, like, is it that one? Okay, cool.
Ah,
And giving ourselves
yes.
permission, right, to
Yeah.
experiment, and giving us ourselves permission to be in there in that moment, knowing that we're not alone, knowing that we're doing
Right.
this with people. And I think you brought so much to the table, Belinda, today. So do me a favor, how can people best connect with you if they want to know more?
Right. Well, they can go to my website. It's my full name, belindaterromony.com, or they can email me through my website email, belinda@belindaterromony.com. And you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I'm going to send all the links to you, Bethany, so that you can put
Mhm.
it up there. I
Yeah.
would love to be on Facebook or Instagram. You'll see all my posts and the
Mhm.
things that I'm trying to do. Um, I don't talk so much about my coaching as I need to, but I will start doing that more.
Yeah.
On those two, I do
Yeah.
a lot about my books. So,
There you go. And the books are great too. And we talk about books on here all the time. My people know,
yeah.
based on my last conversation with Albert, that I'm working on my book now. Y'all, they have me accountable for
Yes.
that. So we got it. So this is a perfect place. So if you're looking for a book, if you're writing, hello, that way, sorry, that way, might be a great fit. You never know. So I got amazing friends on here. And also, since we did talk a little bit about interactive appreciation, I want to remind everybody you can go to thrivewithbethany.com. If you were lost in some of the steps that we went through, because we did it really quick, you can
Yeah.
see how Belinda went from kind of that state to like, whoa, hey, wait a second. And it kind of clears your mind and allows God to speak in the moment. And so I know she's got tools and resources too that she can mention. You go on her website and check that out. But the most important thing I hope you walk away with is that you're not alone. You're
Oh,
not alone in the
not alone.
season. Yeah, the season will come to an end, the season will pass, but you're not alone and you don't have to be alone. And so if you're
Right.
looking for a community, definitely step out and thrive groups. We'd love to be a part. Belinda's here. She's got some groups too. So just don't do it alone. Reach out, and there's lots of people that would love to walk that place with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is the end for this episode. As always, I always end the same way. Dare to do more than just survive. Step out and thrive. See you guys back next week. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye. Praying for you.